Namaskaram, Vanakkam and Prem Namaste. A warm welcome to Sunday Sadhana, your ultimate Hindu magazine program right here on SABC2. The collaboration between the arts and spirituality has always played an essential role in keeping the teachings of Hinduism alive and eternal. Today on Sunday Sadhana, we meet poet and author Dr Ajiv Maharaj from Durban and join Mumbai-based Bharathyanathayam group Kala Parichaya during their visit to Pietermaritzburg. The quest for spirituality and the ultimate truth was evoked at a young age for Dr Ajiv Maharaj. His inspiration from the great rishis and gurus of India inspired Dr Maharaj to delve deep into their world and share his own experiences. His book, In Search of Eternity, is a collection of spiritual poetry that draws on the timeless ideals of Hinduism with a practical, modern-day approach. Sunday Sadhana joined him for the launch of his book at the Sri Vishnu Mandir in Chatsworth.
I really only started writing poetry in about 2010. After I finished my studies in 2007, I was done with formal education, and the next journey would be a spiritual journey. I began writing poetry. I didn't even recognize it as poetry, but I began to write in order to pray. But when you want to pray in your own words to God, how do you do it? Surely you would use the sweetest words. And that kind of spontaneously came out as poetry. It was a way of describing the beauty, if you see spiritual beauty behind everything. The poetry is quite universal, although it draws on specific ideas and philosophies from Hinduism. It's poems that would get written within the space of 10 or 15 minutes when that bhakti was right. But if it's not, I could go for months without putting any word to paper. So it's just a matter of when your sadhana is right, when you're more in tune to your spiritual self, these things come a lot more easily than otherwise. Spiritual poetry comes from a very deep part of your consciousness. So it's talking to things that we don't normally in our ordinary day think about. The word eternity is often common to many religions. Many religions deal with this idea of eternal life. But from a Hindu perspective, we believe that the soul transmigrates through many births. It never dies. So in a sense, it's always eternal. But what we want is freedom from the cycle of birth and death. So eternity here is really a metaphor for God, a search for God. Because in Hinduism, realizing God means eternal life, eternally living within God. So, In Search of Eternity is really talking about a search for God. The most important thing for me is trying to keep the mind occupied with God during the day. So more than sitting in front of the prayer place in the morning and the afternoon, it's trying to keep your mind occupied in God and with God during the day. It has brought a lot of transformation for me in the way I think and in the way I see life.
I feel extremely grateful that I've been given such an honor to the launch of this particular poetry, In Search of Eternity.
The theme through his book is that of self-respect as well as respecting others. And I think that's something that our parents always inculcated from a young age, that you look at God within you and you look at God within others. And that's what scriptures have always indicated as such.
Welcome back. The stories of our enchanting deities in the great epics have been successfully conveyed through the art of dance for thousands of years. This tradition has been kept alive by dedicated and committed dance gurus and their disciplined students. Sunday Sadhana joined the Mumbai Kala Parichaya dance troupe for an exciting evening of classical dance in Pietermaritzburg.
I just feel elated and excited about today's program because we have with us Dr. Ajiv and her troupe from Mumbai. And what an honor to have such renowned dancers grace our stage. Even more honored that we have the Consul General of India, the newly elected Consul General, gracing our function.
And I'm delighted to be here. This is my first public appearance in a community event. We look forward to many more such collaborations.
Local artist here. I'm sure you can do better than that. Thank you very much.
In today's world, it's all about the youth. And we want to instill our deep cultural heritage to the youth because we're not going to be here forever. We skill dancers, renowned dancers, we've set the platform for many, many future dancers to come. And I think having our culture running through the years in the future and instilling it, exposing it to our youth is very, very important. Bringing both these cultures together is actually wonderful because Kathak comes from the north of India, whilst Bharathyanathayam is classical as well, comes from the south of India, and bringing these two beautiful arts together in unison makes us one.
If you look at the Hindu mythology, the music and the dance, the classical music and the dance emanated from the temples of India. So it has a very deep resonance with the spiritual and the mythological aspect of the Hindu life.
All dance items, every item depicts some deity. And it's a way of transforming or sending a message across. Also for reliving the stories from many, many years ago. Even if you look at the temples in India, the sculptures poses are of dancers. So this is how deeply dance and religion and the stories mingle.
Whenever one visits a temple, the music and the dance forms, I mean, you can see them, I mean, in old temples, you can see them on the walls and everywhere else. So it has a very strong bond, so to say, with the Hindu way of life. It is, to me, I think it is essential for the attaining peace of mind. It relieves you of the stress, and certainly in today's hectic life, it certainly gives you some moments of peace.
There is so much around us that can influence us and take us away. But Indian dancing is beautiful and we'd love it to live forever.
The colour and culture of our great religion Its magnificence allows us to explore spirituality in many different ways. Music, literature, rituals, seva, and so much more. Only then can we experience. As Rabindranath Tagore once said, you can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water. Until next week, keep up the sadhana. Om Shanti.
Amma Janani Sharanalayam Ni Amma Janani Sharanalayam Ni Ennanmavin Sangeetha Nee Arul Nee Ennanmavin Sangeetha Nee Arul Nee Amma Janani Sharanalayam Ni Sada pa madapa mada